Hey guys, it's Rose, your Top of Bricks here with another video. In today's video we're going to be doing my top 30 favourite LEGO Harry Potter figures of all time. So I've chosen figures from basically every year of Harry Potter that's been released from 2001 to 2021. So there's a lot of combination and a mix and mash here. But these aren't based off accuracy or anything like that. It's just my personal favourites for a multitude of different reasons. So obviously it's going to be a long video because it's top 30. It was going to be longer. I was going to do top 50 or maybe even a top 100 or something crazy, but I thought I'd stick it to the top 30. So without further ado, let's get into this video. So for our first one we have Madam Hooch. So this came in the 2021 flying lesson set. This is my favourite version of Madam Hooch because she has navy blue, when all the other versions from 2018 and 2010 had just all jet black. We also get a new hair print for the first time, or hair mould should say, also a new face print, and everything is basically new with this figure. You know, we got one just 2-3 years before this one was released and they could have basically given us the same figure again, but you know, LEGO weren't lazy and they gave us a completely brand new figure, which is the most accurate version. You know, she does actually wear navy blue. It's only her cloak over her, you know, initial dress, you could say, or robes, that are actually black. Everything else is navy blue. So going on to number 29 we have Lionhead Luna, and I picked Lionhead Luna because it's Lionhead Luna and she just rocks. But no, I just love the colours in this. You know, for the leg print alone we get, you know, red, light blue, medium blue, dark blue, black and vivid pink. You know, all these different colours just for her legs, and then the torso print is obviously pretty accurate as well, and obviously that lion piece is just so funny. I love it. So this has to be in my top 30. You can see how accurate it is as well. So at number 28 we have, this is my only Quidditch minifigure, and I've chose this one only because it's, you know, got a unique dark green broomstick, and I forgot the name for that then, but yeah, even though it's got a dark green broomstick, which is fantastic, and none of the other minifigures have it, I don't know why, because it's not realistic, because as you can see by these pictures, Draco Malfoy has a black broomstick, and the Nimbus 2001 is black, not dark green. But again, I like the dark green broomstick. It's one of my favourite colours in LEGO, dark green, so I'll take that any day. Number 27 we have Dobby, and this is a Dobby from 2010, specifically the Dobby's release set. It was the cheapest set back then as well, at only, I think it was only £9.99 retail. Really good value. But this set, so this minifigure is much better than the Dobby we get in the, you know, what sets does he come in? I think he only comes in the number 4 Privet Drive set from 2020. He might come in a CMF as well. I don't know if we got him once or twice, but basically the new version of Dobby, that sucks because his ears are way too big, his mouth print just looks dead freaky, it's way too obvious, and also his eyes are ginormous. I wish I provided the picture so you could see what I mean, but these eyes are, people say they're too small. I don't think so. I think they're pretty, you know, perfectly sized. If you look at pictures of Dobby, his eyes aren't that big, you know, so I think this minifigure is fine, to be honest, so that's why he gets into my top 30. At 26 we have Kingsley Shacklebolt from CMF. I think this is CMF 1, but I love the purple robes. Purple is a great colour, and with the, especially with the golden accents, I love that. I also love the unique sort of cloak piece he has over the top and back, which is sort of split in two. And this minifigure is just really accurate to, you know, what we actually see in the films as well, in the Order of the Phoenix and Deathly Hallows Part 2, etc. At 25 we have Gunnar Lockhart. This is the one of 2 Gunnar Lockharts on this list. There is another one a bit later on, but I chose this version from the Chamber of Secrets set of this year because this is the first version we have got him in his golden robes, or his bronze robes, however you see the colour, since 2002. So 19 years, and you know, the reason why having him in this colour robes is so important is because these are the robes that he wears around Hogwarts. You know, and we've it's been so long since we got him, so I was absolutely delighted to get him in his bronze robes when I saw him in leaked pictures for this 2021 Chamber of Secrets set. So he definitely gets into my top 30. At 24 we have Harry from the chess set. This is an almost perfect figure. They even got the cut on the robes, or the jumper I should say, spot on, but he needed some bruises and cuts on his face print as well, because looking at the actual picture he clearly has, you know, bruises and cuts on his face as well, so that's the only improvement I'd make to it, but apart from that it's a pretty much perfect figure. And at number 23, this is a weird one. So when I looked at the actual pictures, the renders, this specific render actually as well, my first reaction was, I don't really like this figure. I don't like how he's mostly orange, and I don't like, he just looks like he's a, you know, it's like a satin colour. It doesn't look very shiny or glossy, but in real life, having him in hand, putting him against the light and, you know, moving him around, the light reflects off him really well, because all that gold in the middle is chrome, or not, you know, not actually chrome, but like a chrome painting, like a metallic. That's what I was looking for. It's like metallic painting, and also the orangey bits on his printing section, not the feet, but his printing section is also metallic, so that reflects light really well as well. It's just a really pretty minifigure, and I like the fact that it's exclusive to this set as well. It's only a £35 set. It didn't need to provide us with an exclusive minifigure, but they did. And obviously this is where it's based off at the end of the Chamber of Secrets with Fawkes, where he's got a lot of orange in his robes. At number 22 is a one from 2021. It's Flitwick. So this Flitwick was based off of the Philosopher's Stone. He didn't appear in the Chamber of Secrets at all, and then he reappeared again in the Prison of Azkaban as a completely new look with brown hair and no beard, etc. You know what he looks like. But in the Philosopher's Stone, he had this weird, crazy look, and in my opinion, this is my favourite look of Flitwick. He just looks a lot more authentic, looks more like a wizard. And this is the only version of Flitwick we got in Lego. All the other versions were from the later interpretation of Flitwick. So, yeah. At number 21 we have Griphook, and by far the best Griphook we've got. I believe we've got him a couple of times before, from the 2011 Diagon Alley set, and also the 2002 or 2003 Gringotts set, which was... it was so bad for these minifigures, these goblins. So was the 2011 Diagon Alley set, because they didn't really change much. But, you know, the goblins this time in 2020, I believe this was released, is so much better. I also love the Sword of Gryffindor, how it's got like trans red rubies encrusted into the actual sword. You get the same sword in the Chamber of Secrets, but the rubies aren't trans red, they're like a solid red. Well, obviously, looking at the actual swords, they're clearly trans red, because it's a ruby after all. So, again, that's a lot more accurate. We're cracking into the top 20 now. We have Rubino Ravenclaw. So, this print is fantastic. I especially like the metallic silver lacings. I also like the under dress, like below the like the robes above the dark blue. You know what I mean? So the sort of white or light blue robes underneath. Looks, it's like a gown, where it has these printings of, I'm not really sure what exactly. It looks like a tree. I'm going to say it's a tree, but you know, I could be wrong. If I am wrong and you know exactly what those printings are, then let me know down in the comments below. But again, this is just attention to detail, which, you know, they could have just left that section white or grey, but you know, they went ahead and gave us this detailed printing. I also like the hair piece as well. I think this is unique to this minifigure, this hair piece. I'm not too sure though. And also the tiara, the diadem print on the head. It's all just fantastic, and it's definitely my favourite of the Hogwarts Founders minifigures from the Harry Potter D2C set. So at number 19 we have Umbridge, and there is a few Umbridge figures to pick from. We got one in 2007, which goes for about £90 now, something daft. We got one in 2008, no, yeah, this is the 2018 version. Then we got another one in 2020 in the Group set in the Forbidden Forest. But this is definitely my favourite version due to the, you know, how detailed the printing is. We get dual molded legs, we get the sort of checkered pink print all on robes. and then we got the light pink overcoat over the top, and we also get creases on her face to signify like age and facial expressions, which the new version doesn't really have. She looks too young in the new version in my opinion. So yeah, obviously we all know what Umbridge looks like. Then here we are at number 18, we have nearly headless Nick, specifically the one on the left where he's glow in the dark. Even though this version isn't as accurate as the 2018 one, which we got in a Great Hall, being all in white and silver and grey, I do love the fact he's glow in the dark, and that's basically the only reason he's at number 18 is because he's glow in the dark. I recognise that he's not accurate at all, but I don't care. I love glow in the dark minifigures, and there is another one coming up on this list as well. So at number 17 we have Trelawney, and again, you can clearly tell I don't care about accuracy because this is probably the least accurate Lego Harry Potter figure, or no, sorry, the least accurate minifigure, like full stop, of all time. I don't know where they're going with this. Trelawney doesn't wear blue. She doesn't have a purple scarf. She doesn't have a hat, never mind a vivid pink one. So I think they're just making it up as they're going along with this one. But this was 2004, so maybe we can forgive them considering this is 17 years old. But as you can see by the pictures, you know, she looks nothing like what she does in this Lego figure. So, but yeah. At number 16 we have Voldemort, specifically the one from the 2005 Graveyard Jewel set. This Voldemort is glow in the dark, and you know, that's basically why he's on this list. This used to be a lot higher. If you asked me a couple of years ago what are my favourite Lego Harry Potter figures, this Voldemort figure will probably be in my top 5, but there's just been so many great Lego Harry Potter figures that have come since 2018 that has pushed this figure all the way down to 16th. Obviously we know he's not accurate, but who cares? But speaking of a Lego Harry Potter figure which is accurate, we have a Dementor. So the reason why this is so high in this list at number 15 is because of that leg print. Would you call it a leg? You know what I mean, kind of the bottom section print. That's all one piece, and it was brought in just for this minifigure. I believe they've reused it on Hidden Side sets, but it was initially given to us in the 2018 Hogwarts Express set. Again, I just love the transition from a full figure to sort of like nothingness, so it looks like it's, you know, floating or flying in midair. I also love a tattered cape as well, but obviously the main reason why this is at number 15 is because of that leg print. It's just absolutely amazing, that piece, and I was blown away when I first saw it. But at number 14 we have Dumbledore from the CMF 2. So this is the years 1 to 2 version, and I just love the printing on this minifigure, on his torso and his legs. All the different shapes and patterns and the different lines, and there's just so much detail in this minifigure. And that's what I love about Harry Potter figures in general, especially the CMF ones, is the attention to detail and the dedication to high detail printing that they have. Also the hat and hair dual model piece is fantastic, but you can't, like, well, for me personally, I can't really decide which one is better, this version from CMF 2 or the Dumbledore from CMF 1. But due to how I personally prefer them in the film, I do prefer the blue robes over the red. So I've actually gone with this one place higher. This is Dumbledore from CMF 1 in his sky blue robes. And like I say, this is mainly due to my preference and colour, but the actual figures details themselves are all equally as good. You can see the printing on the torsos, where it's actually quite hard to see, especially on the legs, but on the sides it's got sort of a wavy pattern starting at the bottom, which kind of turns into a checkered pattern of little circles and little diamonds. It's really hard to see, but it is there. I also love the metallic finishing on the glasses as well, so they reflect off the light. I think that was really really clever. And that's where obviously it's based off from the Chamber of... No, it's from the Order of the Phoenix, I should say. At number 12 we have Luna again. This is my favourite version of Luna, and obviously the reason why this is my favourite version of Luna is because how vibrant this figure is. You get the Quibbler, which is a great print, but we also get a dark purple bag, we get a vivid purple jacket, we get Luna in a bright blonde hair. We also get these blue jeans and also a skirt with like yellow stars, green circles, white stars, green hearts, blue horses, pink birds. It's just so much colour, and it's one of these figures where I'd happily display it on my desk. It's that great. Obviously this is what they're basing it off, very accurate indeed. So at number 11 we have Goodrow Lockhart again, and this is my favourite version of Goodrow Lockhart. Due to how funky he is, you know, we get him in the violet or purple robes, and also the big orange cloak. I'm not really sure what they're basing it off, because yeah, this is obviously from the Diagon Alley set, so you'd assume that, you know, they're basing this figure off him in Diagon Alley. But if we look at pictures from the film where he's in Diagon Alley and Flourish and Blocks signing his book Magical Me, he wears lilac robe, sort of a bluey purple, mainly blue, and also a silver vest. I don't know where to get the orange robes from, or the orange cloak I should say at least. Maybe had a bad reference image, but I don't really know what they're aiming at there. But obviously we don't care about accuracy here, we only care about the feel that they give us, and I just really love the look of that minifigure. So at number 10 we have another minifigure, which has already been on this list, with Trelawney, but this time it actually looks like Trelawney, unlike the last one. So this version we get actual green robes which she actually wears. We also get sort of the metallic gold printing, which looks like creases, but I don't think they are meant to be creases, but along the top, which will reflect in the light, as well as the metallic silver beads. And we also get no hat, which is accurate, and instead we get a dual molded hair and bandana piece, which is fantastic. But my favourite part of this minifigure isn't actually anything to do with the minifigure, it's the printing on the saucer of that cup. That is absolutely fantastic. We got a cup with the Umbridge Booktober pack figure, but we had no printing on it. This one, we get all the printing we need. We get the little blue dots and the little flowery patterns. It's absolutely fantastic, and you know, I really want to have more of these, but unfortunately, you know, I only got one of this figure, so I only have one of them. And as you can see, here's Sharon again, and she actually looks like her own minifigure. So at number 9 we have Bellatrix Lestrange, and the main reason I put this in the top 10 is because it's a solid minifigure, but the Bellatrix Lestrange which we got in the Borough set of 2020 is very similar to this figure, but just simply worse because she has no torso printing whatsoever. And this version obviously looks very similar to the 2020 version, but has the leg printing, and this came out 11 years ago in 2010. So the fact that this version still remains the best version of Bellatrix Lestrange after 11 years, you know, I respect that. So I'm putting it in the top 10. As you can see, she's very accurate to what she looks like in the films. And number 8 we have Cat Hermione, as you can see on the left there. When I first saw a picture of this minifigure, I was, you know, my first reaction was, oh, that's cute. But looking more like into a comparison of this figure versus what she looks like in the films, they got so much right, including the printing and the marks she has above her eyes, and also the mold is just perfect. The way it kind of goes from, you know, the face to the hair seems, it's just seamless, and her ears are fantastic, and it's just a really great Harry Potter figure. And she comes in such a cheap set. This set was only £17.99 or $20. So number 7 we have one from the chess set. This is my favourite version of Hermione, mainly just due to the torso print. I don't care about anything else, but that torso print with the stars, the X's and the little patterns and the red and the dark green is just perfect. I also like the little blue shirt she has underneath, which is quite realistic as well. Again, I got this model up to show exactly what the torso looks like. We don't get any of the yellow or the amber, which is a little disappointing, but apart from that, everything else is there. I forgot how creepy these dolls looked, but bloody hell. But, you know, it's just there to give you an idea of how good a job LEGO did with this torso print. So number 6 we have a Tom Riddle, and this one came exclusively with the 2019 Wizarding World Magical Journey book. This was recreated in the 2021 Chamber of Secrets set, but that version of Tom Riddle is far worse than this version. I would still make improvements to this version. I actually made a video on improving this minifigure, which I'll link down below in the description, but basically I'd put a Hogwarts crest on his torso as well as a prefect badge, and then change the colour of his kind of inner jacket to a dark grey instead of a light grey. As you can see, he has the prefect badge and the head boy badge, not really sure which it is, and also the Hogwarts emblem crest as well. So at number 5, we're getting into the really great minifigures now. We have Moaning Merkel. And as I already said with Nearly Headless Nick, that minifigure isn't as accurate as it could have been, being that it's white and green. Because there's just no green on Nearly Headless Nick at all. But this figure is absolutely spot on, being in all blue. And I just love how unique this minifigure is. You know, we get a light blue skin tone head. When do we ever get that? We get a dark blue hairpiece. You know, when do we ever get that? Very rarely. And all blue robes, all tasselled robes. It's just absolutely fantastic. And as you can see, he perfectly represented the sort of patchy look on the robes. These are obviously pictures from the film or shoots or whatever. They just did such a good job with this minifigure. So at number 4, we have Harrion's Invisibility Cloak. So the reason why this is so high on this list, because for a multitude of different reasons. So we haven't had an Invisibility Cloak for 11 years now. The last time we had one was from the 2010 Hogwarts Express set. So I think this was released in what, 2018, so it would have been 7 years since, you know, the last Invisibility Cloak to this version. And there's just been so much improvement since that version. Even though it had a similar texture on the outside with the sort of reflective glare, on the inside we didn't have any of these pretty patterns, which is obviously accurate to the film. But mainly this is so high on this list because for the earlier films, Harry running about the castle at night in his cloak looking for the Mirror of Erised is just one of my favourite scenes in the early Harry Potter films. So this is why for me personally this minifigure is so high on this list. So let's take a look at Harry in his invisibility cloak from the films. Yeah, that was meant to be a joke. I know it probably fell flat, so, you know, don't dislike this video. But, you know, here's actually Harry with his invisibility cloak, and as you can see, it's a crazy amount of patterns and shapes in that cloak, so it's obviously hard for Lego to recreate, but I think they did a pretty decent job at doing so on the inside. So we're now into our top 3, and this is my favourite Harry Potter minifigure of all time, specifically Harry Potter. I don't mean the theme, I mean the character. The only thing I'd change with this is make the clip in the middle a metallic silver rather than just grey, but apart from that, this minifigure is perfect. And I have so much sentimental attachment to this minifigure and this scene, because in the film, obviously, this is based off the scene where Harry is, you know, in kind of a snowy blizzard outside, essentially, with his blue gloves on, holding Hedwig, and then he lets Hedwig go, who flies off into the blizzard, carrying a letter. And obviously this is exactly where the scene is from. It's just one of my favourite scenes from the Harry Potter films, so this is why this is at number 3. At number 2, we have probably one of the most accurate and detailed Lego Harry Potter figures of all time, easily for sure. So we have Professor Mcgonagall from the 2021 Transfiguration Hogwarts Moments book. I think I nailed that, the name, quite a long name. But I'm telling you now, if you're looking for an investment, try and buy as many of these Transfiguration books as you can. Then part out the pieces for as much as you can and your for minifigures, and just keep hold of this minifigure, because these books are about to retire. They may have already done so, but I think they're going to retire quite soon, certainly this year. And once they retire this minifigure, it's going to go through the roof in price. But yeah, this is at number 2, just based on how accurate it is. I mean, look at the different swirls and colours we get in the torso and leg prints. You get the turquoise, the dark green, the light green, the black, and also that hat piece with the dual moulded hair effect is just perfect as well. You can just see by looking at pictures of Professor Mcgonagall how accurate Lego made this minifigure. Then at number 1, for the best, or should I say my favourite Lego Harry Potter minifigure of all time, we have Albus Dumbledore from 2004. And you may think, this is a strange one, why have you chosen an old, you know, Dumbledore figure which arguably isn't very accurate? And even though I agree with you it's not very accurate, you already know I don't care about that. The reason why this is at number 1 is because it's, you know, well, when this minifigure first came out, or when the first version of Dumbledore first came out in 2001, he had the same torso print and the same leg printing as this minifigure. The only difference was he had yellow skin tones, and, you know, obviously when this minifigure came out in 2004, this was the first Dumbledore minifigure to have flesh coloured skin tones, and considering all the other minifigures in my collection are all, you know, flesh coloured skin tones, I wouldn't really want a yellow skin tone figure because it's not very accurate, or doesn't really look, it looks out of place essentially in my collection. So ever since then I preferred the flesh coloured skin tones, and this is why since 2004 when this minifigure came out, this has been my favourite version of Dumbledore. And considering Dumbledore is my favourite character in the Harry Potter series, naturally he's my favourite Harry Potter minifigure, so that's why he's at number 1. So it's obviously more of a personal reason, mainly motivated by sentimental value as well, because I used to own this minifigure but not anymore. He's exclusive to the 2004 Hogwarts Castle set, I believe, which came with the clock tower with the swinging pendulum, which is quite an expensive Harry Potter set. I actually featured that in a video of mine where I did the most expensive, you know, top 10 most expensive Lego Harry Potter sets, and that set was quite high up on that list. But yeah, these are the only pictures of Dumbledore in purple I could find. I know in the Philosopher's Stone and the Chamber of Secrets he basically just wears red, or a dark like red colour for his robes, but I believe in the hospital wing at the end of the Philosopher's Stone where he's with Harry eating his, you know, Bertie Bott's favourite flavoured beans, I believe he wears this sort of purpley red colour, and I understand why one could say it's purple, but to me it's still sort of a red colour, but you know, it's up for interpretation. The one on the right is a model, and that's purple, so I guess other people have also interpreted this colour to be purple, but again, we don't care about accuracy. But yeah, that pretty much rounds up this list of my top 30 Lego Harry Potter figures. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I know this video is quite long, and I apologise for that, but I wanted to get my thoughts off of my chest of my, you know, my favourite Lego Harry Potter figures. So rather than doing a top 5 or a top 10 where I'd have to miss a lot out, I thought I'd do a top 30 where I can get a big bulk of them in there. So apologies for that, but if you like this video, nonetheless, please leave a like, and don't forget to subscribe to see some more Lego Harry Potter content from me. I've been Rosie, your Topper Bricks. I'll catch you next time. Bye for now.